going to get that answer. You would never know why why cancer, why all these other things. Maybe 10 years from now, you'll know the why. But in that moment, if you had clung to, I need to keep asking this and asking other people versus letting go this need to get that answer, then where would you be?
That's right. Not where I am.
Right.
So the whole why thing, right? Many people tell us we've been told never to ask why of others, yet you propose that why, that's one of the most important questions that we can ask. So I'm going to ask you, why?
Well, it's funny considering the conversation we just had about the why, right?
Yeah,
But in the
yeah.
context for me, and I never knew there was something called the five whys out there. My mother taught me this in first grade, the
I didn't
power
know
of
that.
why.
Okay,
And
share the five whys.
okay, so the five whys, what's so important about it is if you're stuck in a situation and you're looking to move out of it, asking yourself why I chose this goal, why I'm with this person, why I'm eating this gigantic bowl of ice cream at this moment, 5 times in a row will really often get to the real why.
Hmm.
So when I was trying to decide, using the example of my parents and moving my business forward, leaving corporate, I asked, well, why are they responding this way? And I used that when my friend asked me the question. And by the fifth why, I realized it had nothing to do with me. It was about my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Because the
Mm-hmm.
first why answers you typically give yourself are because,
That's right.
or that's the way it's always been done, or that's the way so and so told me to. But if you ask yourself why 5 times in a row, why this goal, you will typically get to the real reason behind the why. And I think it's such a critical question when you're about to set a goal for yourself or eat
That
that ice cream when
that's
you're trying to lose weight.
That's right, right? That's awesome. I've never heard that before. I'm going to use that. That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell me, what was the most powerful question that you've ever been asked?
Interesting question. When I really think that the most powerful question I was ever asked was when I was in marriage counseling for my first marriage. It kind of failed after 4 months, and we went into counseling. And the therapist, after a few months, said to me, why did you want to get married?
Mm,
And that really embarked me on this whole passion of asking the right questions, even more so than what I talk about in my book in the first chapter in first grade with my mom, but when I walked out of school. But asking me that question made me realize that I was really asking the wrong question about my marriage.
mm,
And the answer ended up being because I hadn't checked that box.
hmm.
The only thing I hadn't checked was marriage and kids.
Wow.
So even though I knew that there was issues in the marriage before we got married, I said yes because I hadn't checked that box.
Hmm. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. It was a
Wow.
complete shift of the questions I had been asking of do I love him? You know, why do I want to stay married to him?
Right.
Those kind of things. It was a complete shift in consciousness.
Wow. 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 That's amazing. That's awesome because you know what I mean? And I bet that was hard for you, right? To really go in and admit that like what you said, it's not necessarily because you love this person, but it was truly about just checking a box to say that, okay, I've been able to do that. That's not easy to come to to that resolution either.
Yeah. And I had to reevaluate it and go, okay, now that I know the answer, what are we going to do about the marriage? And it ended up not working out for a lot of other reasons beyond that, because I did love him. And I think on some level he loved me, but it awoke me to a new way of thinking and asking myself questions,
Hmm.
and how like
Wow.
one or two words can completely change a question.
That's right. And so on that same note then, so your mom had colon cancer, but the doctors never went there for the diagnosis until you pushed them. So what was the most important thing that you can do for loved ones that are patient advocates about, bringing in those questions? How do you push people to get those answers when you know that there's something else wrong?
Well, I think, and you've been through this so much with your family and with loved ones and the people that you support through Hello Gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing you can do as an advocate for your loved ones in a medical crisis is to understand that you know them better than the doctors do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's normal for them. You know what's not normal for them. And you can always ask for the charge nurse at the hospital, which I think half the people do not know that there is somebody that they can go to that knows more than, in most cases, the doctors.
Right, 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 right.
And if you go to the charge nurse and say, look, this is what's going on, and I don't know who to talk to about it, but I know this is not right. This is not normal. They can help you. They can support you because nurses are often more willing, sadly, to listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that I think we can do for our loved ones in a medical crisis is to know that not every doctor is the right doctor for us.
That's right.
I had this doctor that just didn't want to acknowledge that it was not my mom's emphysema or her congestive heart failure or the fact that she had a bad heart. And he's like, well, she can't breathe because it's the emphysema has escalated. And I'm like, okay, but how does that fit with her platelets being this low and her iron being this low and her hematocrit and everything? And he goes, well, she's just failing and she needs to just go to hospice. And I said, if it was your mother, what would you do?
Right. Great question.
And you know what he said? He said, I would give her iron. I said, then why are you not giving my mother iron? I said, what else would you do? And he said, well, I'd probably have a CT scan of her abdominal to maybe see if there's a place that the blood is going. Well, when they did that CT scan, they noticed a mass. So they ordered a colonoscopy, which showed colon cancer. And then they're like, she needs to have surgery, but we need to schedule the surgery. And I said, okay, my mom's just gone through what is very difficult for somebody in her medical condition, the colonoscopy prep.
Yeah,
right?
no kidding.
Which,
yes.
if anybody's been through it, it's hard
Awful.
enough when you're healthy, but
right.
when you're not,
yes.
trying to get to the bathroom. So I called somebody I knew. I had met an event and he was involved with cancer stuff at the hospital. And I called him and I said, what would you do? And he said, give me 5 minutes. And next thing I know, the phone's ringing and this incredible surgeon in our area, Derek Paul, who had the day off, calls me and said, we're not going to put your mother through another prep. I have the day off. I've called the OR. We're getting her scheduled. Don't let them move your mother from where she is. We're scheduling her for surgery right now.
Wow.
And it turned out to be the best form of colon cancer you can get. It was at the edge. They got clean borders. She didn't need, a bag or anything like that. No chemo, no radiation. But if I hadn't pushed and if I hadn't asked that one doctor, because I knew, what he was saying was wrong. And deep in my soul, I said, what would you do if this was your mother?
That's right. That's right. And sometimes you need to, they dehumanize themselves. I think the doctors do. They dehumanize themselves. And so what you did by asking that question is you made him human. And so then he thought about your mother as another human, not just another person that he had to work on. So I think that was brilliant. That was awesome. That was awesome.
Well,
all right. Well, my dear, we are almost out of time. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Tell our listeners one more time, where can they find more information about you and the questions?
They can go to, nice and simple, Laura Steward with a D, laurasteward.com, and you can get free chapters of my book, a free workbook to ask better questions, and some other resources. And they can listen to my podcast where they can hear you on my show.
Yes, I was grateful to be a guest on your show. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out to speak with me today and share the work that you do. Listeners, if you have any questions, comments, or you'd like to know more about the guest on our show today, or for more information about Hello Gorgeous, feel free to contact me at kbecker@hellogorgeous.org or visit our website at www.hellogorgeous.org. We invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and download our mobile app. Thank you for joining me today on Hello Gorgeous, Everything Beauty, Cancer, and Inspiration. I'm your host, Kim Becker, and until next time, stay gorgeous.